Hey guys, Ethan from Ethan Co. here. Ice Age 2 was a game that I did play on PC a lot as a child, so I feel very nostalgic about it. But does it hold up as an adult? Well, let's find out. Ice Age 2 The Meltdown is a video game based on the 2006 sequel to the 2002 hit Ice Age. In this game you play as Scrat, yes, Scrat, collecting nuts, doing some tasks, but rarely does it ever connect to the plot of the movie. Yeah, this is my main problem with the game. This is marketed as the game based off Ice Age 2 The Meltdown, when in reality, it barely has anything to do with Ice Age The Meltdown. So yeah, if you're going into this game hoping to play as some of the main characters and play levels reminiscent of scenes in the movie, you'll be sadly disappointed. There are a few levels reminiscent of scenes in the movie, but for the most part, it mostly just follows Scrat going from set piece to set piece. The gameplay is really good though. For the most part, it's pretty smooth and responsive. I did have a problem with the penguin bowling level, but I soon got the hang of it. The level that I probably had the most trouble with was the Sid level, where he slides down that slide in order to impress some female sloths. I always had trouble with that as a kid, when he does his tricks. But I didn't know how to activate him, so unfortunately I couldn't ace the tricks. But overall, the gameplay is really good. Now let's talk about the game's animation. The animation for this game was done at Sierra, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. The animation for this game is really good. It totally aces the look of the Ice Age world, and the characters. Sierra actually did another game for Blue Sky, Robots, and the animation there was pretty impressive too. The characters' movements are smooth. The backgrounds look pretty nice, as well as the character animation. This is definitely one of the best looking movie tie-in games I've ever seen. It's definitely a lot better than Madagascar. Ew. However, there are times when the animation can get a little pixelated. But overall, the animation is pretty good. The voice acting is pretty good too. All the original cast reprised their roles for this game. That really shows how dedicated they are to this franchise. The music's pretty good. It's a nice tune that will please your ear. One of the best things about this game is you can explore areas in and not in the movies, like for example, the belly of a fish and the inside of a volcano. Those are honestly the parts where the game becomes the most creative and interesting. These levels are fun and cool. Honestly, this game is worth playing just for these levels alone, as they are easily the best in the game. Also, another thing I really like is they make some references to the first movie. Like you can see that dinosaur from the first movie when they were in that giant glacier. Although I find it kind of bizarre they decided to use Diego's picture from the first Ice Age's poster for the poster of this game. Here, I'll show you. Okay, this is the first Ice Age DVD. And here's Diego for the poster of the game. It's like the exact same. You can totally tell because it's jarring up against the new Sid design for the sequel. Also, Manny has a new design right here. That's not the only one. Sid here. It's like the exact same, maybe not the exact same picture, but it's the same animation from the first one. Also, I don't have this case. There is a original Ice Age case where this picture Manny is, but like you can totally tell that it's from the first one and not the second one. Now let's talk about the stuff I don't like about this game, and these are some things that unfortunately bring. First of all, some of the choices didn't make sense, like why is Scrat's health represented by flower petals? Why not nuts? Also, why do you have to collect a certain amount of walnuts before you can access a different area? That doesn't really make any sense. Is it because Scrat needs the strength to go on through those cracks? Maybe that's why. That's actually kind of funny. Also, there are these cutscenes where Manny goes over the events of the movie. But What's the point of these cutscenes? This game is already as far away from the source material as can be, so why does the plot of the movie matter at this point? But this is probably the biggest problem with this game, and it's irritated me for a really long time. There is no climax. The game just kind of ends as soon as you go through this crack. Like, no final boss, no, save Manny and the others from the flood. It just kind of ends. Like, really, guys? This is how you're gonna end your game? No big climax, no final boss, it just ends? What a nothing ending. Another big problem with this game is it gets extremely repetitive, doing the same old stuff every level, collecting walnuts, doing tasks for characters, accepting challenges to get from point A to point B. Like, pretty much every level is basically the same, only with a different setting. Sometimes it'll take place in the forest, sometimes it'll take place in the volcano, and sometimes it'll take place in the snowy areas. Another huge problem with this game is there's only one boss fight. One boss fight, and that's this giant spider. Like, you couldn't have Scrab maybe face off the two villain fish from the second movie. So overall, guys, Ice Age 2 isn't as good as I remember, but it's still an okay video game. I still had fun playing it, the nostalgia levels were still pretty high, and I definitely recommend it at least for maybe one time. I probably would have been harsher on this game if I had not played it so much as a kid, but since I did, I still had a lot of fun revisiting it. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's not the best movie tie-in game, but it's definitely not the worst. Guys, if your game is going to have the same title as the movie Ice Age 2 The Meltdown, then you gotta have something that represents that movie in this game. Honestly, it would have been better if they had titled this maybe Scrat's Meltdown Adventure or Scrat's Adventure while the Ice Age 2 The Meltdown. Sure, it sounds cheesy, but it would make more sense than this. So guys, if you're curious, I'd say give it a play. If only once in your lifetime, at least you can say you've played it. This is honestly not going to be a game that I'm going to be playing often, but I might return to it someday. I'll tell you, I would rather play this than the Robots game. That game is boring. Anyway, that concludes my review of Ice Age 2 The Meltdown. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think of this game? Do you like it? Do you find it underrated? What is your favorite movie tie-in game? Let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys later. Please remember to like and subscribe and become part of the Ethan Corporation. I will see you guys later.